Hey guys, and welcome back to Rathlin Island. It's day 3 of early spring, and we are into our, second spring cycle. So we kind of entered into our second game year back in midwinter. We are now into our second, spring. And, well, as you can see, the snow is still on the ground. We did not get rain on the first day of spring. We got snow. As a result, we had another layer of snow accumulation. So we are still fighting frozen ground and snow all over the place. So today we're just going to tend to our greenhouses. We've got some pallets of produce to sell and fruit. So we're going to go ahead and take that over to the market. And we have now increased our sheep herd up to 753 sheep. We are gaining a new lamb, I guess you would call it, about every hour and a half. So we are getting a fair number of sheep added to our herd every day. And as a result, we are pumping out the wool like there's no tomorrow. I think we've already got, just in the first 2 full game days, we probably already have 12 pallets of wool. Add that to the wool pallets that we still have from last summer that we haven't sold yet. And we have basically several $100,000, I think, banked away in wool, just waiting on a decent price. Ideally, a decent, great demand price. Because of the fact that we're only going to be able to sell so many loads of wool at a time, and by the time we get back across the sound and get another load of wool, the price would have dropped a fair bit. So let's go ahead and, while we're dumping our manure here, let's go ahead and look at that wool price, see where we stand. Last time I looked at it, it was around, it was 4,000 something. Pass it every time. Not expecting it that quick. 4,400 and climbing. That's good to see. And I've been checking out our grain price. Our grain price is $4.97 and climbing. It's always in the red. I don't understand why it's always in the red. But we still have a full trailer load of grain to sell also. And we've got really decent prices on our produce. Now these prices, they really don't fluctuate too terrible much. Over here, let's look at our animals. So look at that. We're getting a new sheep every hour and 26 minutes. So that is basically like 16 sheep, 18 sheep per game day. It's 12 sheep. Oh, well, every 2 hours would be 12 sheep, so it's 12 plus 6, so it's 18 sheep per game day, basically, that we're adding. I think I did the math. I should have about 840 sheep by the end of spring if we keep this up. So we need to feed everybody too. We have just been kind of doing some regular work, you know, selling some milk, prepping the equipment, maintaining the BGA, you know, as we are waiting on this snow to clear away, as we're waiting on the ground to thaw. See, we've got a air temp of 39 degrees right now, but the ground temp is holding steady at 40 or at 30. I think the snow is insulating that to some degree, and the cold in. Look at our forecast. Tomorrow we got a high of 50. If we don't get thawed ground tomorrow, the high of 50, that is going to be surprising. Sunday we have a high of 56, then 54, and then 56 again, 57, and then into the 60s. So a third of our spring will be gone by the end of today. So again, it is looking like was a very good decision to continue to do that field prep on those 3 fields that we purchased before we had frozen ground in winter, because you never know. You never know if you're going to have enough time in the spring to get work done. So it's kind of one of those, get it done while you can. And if you end up being ahead of the game, well, at some point you're not going to be ahead of the game anymore. And you're going to be glad that you got ahead of the game at one point to make up for being behind the game at a point later on. So let's look at our planting schedule too, because we don't only have to worry about getting thawed ground, we have to worry about 41 degrees, right? Look at that. So wheat, barley, and canola. Now, we have wheat, barley, and canola in the ground. I honestly don't remember. We got canola in the ground. Fields of canola. Don't have any wheat or barley in the ground. We should probably plant at least 1 field of barley so that we have straw. So I'm thinking maybe we'll put field 10 in barley. Don't need a really big field, I don't think. So we'll probably put barley in field 10. And so, like I said, we need 41 degrees to finally hit that. And we only have 6 game days after today, to get that done. And then we got soybeans and corn put in the ground, or sunflowers. I think some of it's going to be potatoes and sugar beets. Well, we got a potato harvester. So if we were masochistic, we would put more potatoes in the ground. But I don't know if we're going to do that. We do not have aspirations to get pigs at this point, so there's no real motivation to get root crops other than to just agonize over the endless trips across the sound to sell them, because we've seen that it doesn't seem to be worth the effort to put them at the BGA for food. Well, to feed the BGA, what I mean by for food. So I think it will probably come down to where is the ground temperatures coming to see, you know, do we put more canola, wheat, and barley in? Or are we able to put sunflowers in? Or are we able to put soybeans in? Now, I'd like to put in soybeans, because we've got the header for that. We do not have the header for corn or sunflowers. So it's just going to be, you know, can we get that 50 degrees? That magical 50 degrees by what is it, midsummer? That when we have, by the end of midsummer, we have to have 50 degrees to put soybeans in and make them viable. So I've said I've said for a time that I haven't really had a hard winter with seasons. I wouldn't really call this a hard winter. I would call it a fair bit of snow. I think I had more snow this winter than I've seen in several maps of gameplay, but it's not been super hard. I haven't had a whole bunch of snow to the point where it's not manageable. See if we can't get this stuff picked up. this manure picked up, and then we'll get it out of the big pile. The endless pile of poo, I call it. That one. Since we have manure in, we're okay. We won't accidentally pick up snow. And leave the bucket down like this. And a little scoop. And then we will have it. Alright. Let's go fill up this scoop from the big pile. We're getting our BGA up to a bit higher output. In fact, we're about to kick off again. Let's see here. $928 BGA income in the last hour. Now 8 o'clock, the BGA is running. So once we get this manure in and get these things topped off with water, I think we'll put our forks back on. We'll grab 4 bales of hay and run them over there. Now, I have to tell you, I have not fed this these greenhouses since the last video where I fed the greenhouses. These greenhouses, they go a really long time without needing to be fed, which is pretty nice. Don't feel like you're a slave to the production to get get the output. At the same time, you're not a slave to the output. So these greenhouses, if you ask me, they have been tuned right. They are dialed in to the sweet spot of the amount of time that it takes to keep them up and running. Not feeling like you are so busy with keeping them up and running that you run the risk of not being able to get your farm work done. And at the same time, you're not feeling like you're just constantly selling produce and can't keep up, with other things, with other duties. The animals needing to be fed every 3 days, they sometimes can really get you feeling like, oh, geez, all I'm ever doing is feeding these animals. I don't have any time to get anything else done. But that's not the case with. Not feel like it's the case with these greenhouses. You can go, I guess. Well, I guess if it's 1,000 liters of manure per pallet. I don't think it is. I think it's some other ratio. But if you go and they're doing 1 pallet a day, so if you can go 10 game days between having to fill this thing up, that's 9 days a season. That is an entire season before you have to put more manure and water in the greenhouse. So, yeah, I would say they are not something that you would have to be slaving over. Just leave this manure in the bucket. I know you probably wouldn't do that in real life because you would probably rot the bucket out. But got a super slick coating on this bucket that manure won't be able to. manure won't be able to penetrate. Up to our super awesome bale grab, courtesy of the straw harvest add-on. Sometimes I forget that that folks are not always as aware of things as others may be. Because just the other day in my Discord, one of the longtime Discord members was asking about the straw harvest add-on. He'd never heard of it before, and quite frankly, he may not have ever heard of it before. And I was like, "Oh, really?" I was explaining what it did, and everything, and he was asking, "Well, is it worth it?" That's typically the question you get, right? Is it worth it? Well, it's me. It's something that I think is worth it, but it depends on your gameplay and everything. I think it's worth it just for the bale grabs and the balers. Now we're not using the round baler here on this series, but we used the square baler a fair bit on the Midtown series, and on just a bale press on Midtown. Just a bale press a little bit on Churn Farms toward the end. Used the bale grabs a fair bit on every series since the straw harvest add-on has come out and everything. Go ahead. We'll just let's just put this over here, and we got a tractor down here. Just go ahead and get the tractor and get our water tank, and park this here out of the way. Our water tank. To water in our greenhouses. Not only waiting for the snow to dissipate and frozen ground to go away, but we're also waiting for the grass to start coming up so we can get our production back on our cattle. Let's see here. Do these cows need they need water? Go water them. Yeah, they could use some water. All right. Let's go ahead and get them some water before we go top this thing off. We got some snow melt. We're starting to get a little bit of grass showing through. It would be cool if in 19, like this water trailer, there's a hookup for a hose. If this water trough somehow had a hose on it itself, and if we had the dynamic hoses working in 19 as standard, that would be pretty cool, I think. All right. Let's swing around here. Where's Delta at? Where's Delta at? Oh, there he is. Make sure he's in healthy shape. We don't want him getting sick on us. All right, let's Go ahead and empty this water trailer. We might as well. Opposed to making a trip all the way over to the spring with a trailer that's 2/3 full. Go ahead and empty it a little bit. I think this only holds like 6,000 liters of water. I'm remembering correctly. Definitely takes less water than the manure. 6,000 liters. Darn. So how many of you all are still playing the Rathlin Island here? There was a another question in my Discord the other day as to how long I thought I would be I would still run Rathlin. Of course, there are some new maps that are coming out, and well, they may be out by the time this video airs. You have about a week and a half of advance on the production schedule currently with respect to this series. So there are a few anticipated maps in the pipeline. One we know is definitely in with Giants for testing. The others are supposedly either in with testing or pretty darn close to be put in with testing. So you know, they were asking, well, how much longer are you going to run Rathlin, given the fact that you got these other maps coming out? And I was like, well, I don't know. I've not mentally set a cutoff time. Not really mentally told myself, all right, we're gonna run until this specific thing happens, or this specific event time occurs, or we come up to this particular calendar period. I'm thinking maybe we'll go until the end of harvest this year. Maybe see where we're at. Always a loud area with the birds. Always. Want to be fearful when you walk over here. You might get dive bombed with bird duty. Again, even with these maps coming out, there's no guarantee that that I'm gonna be motivated to do a series on one. Like I've said before, I don't see myself doing a series on a map based on the hype. What's that? Kunon say, oh, I was hoping that was gonna be a wool great demand, but it's almost the hype machine is almost a deterrent sometimes of if 20 other people on YouTube are doing a video series on a map, then I don't feel inclined to do a video series on the same map because everyone else is. I almost feel inclined to not do a video series on that map because everyone else is. But in reality, what it is maps I pick, I feel drawn into at some type of a... oh, it looks like we've lost a bit more snow today. More snow than we had just a little bit ago. It's good. Yeah, the maps I play, I feel drawn to. I feel some sort of connection to. Not so much a emotional connection, but or a personal connection, but I just feel drawn into them. And usually I can tell within a pretty short time period of just exploring and poking around the map of a sense of desire to continue on beyond beyond a map tour, to experience the map more fully. And there have been some pretty popular maps that honestly, after looking at them, I didn't feel that way. The way I take it is, if I'm not feeling drawn to play the map at a personal level, then I don't think I'm going to be doing the map or the videos justice, trying to just do a map because it seems to be the popular thing. So I pretty much hold it all up to anything is possible, but nothing is guaranteed until until we have a chance to actually review and explore those maps. But we'll see. Never know. In a week to a week and a half time, I might come back and basically say we are going to go until the end of summer, and then we are moving to XYZ. I don't know. We'll see. Because I also have I've learned to try to manage my expectations, so the hype train does not get the better of me. There's been times in the past where big hype has resulted in big disappointment, and that's not something that I want to have happen either. So, all right, got them taken care of. Let's go ahead and top off the cows with power food. Our mixer here, since we're down here. And then we're going to, I guess, close out by taking our hay back over to the BGA and feeding that beast. Turn the mixer on. Start dumping. See. Yep. They got plenty of straw. Got lots of milk. We need to go make a couple milk runs. Also, we did take some liquid manure over to the BGA yesterday, and to get some manure bonus working there. All right, that done. Turn off our mixer. Where we've been making a big old, oh yeah, we definitely get some melt now going on, buddy. We may not have snow come tomorrow. That would be good. Just wait and see. Wait and see. Go ahead and hook this thing up to the milk tank and start drawing it full of milk as we take this stuff down to the BGA. Thankfully, we have, now that we've got animals going on and we've got the greenhouses, there is enough going on that we're not in the woods all winter long like we were last year. Last year, in the woods a fair bit to, well, to pad our income a little bit, and also to, well, because there wasn't much else going on as we were waiting for spring and everything. But now that we've got the greenhouses, now that we got our cows and our sheep, and the fair number of sheep that we do have means that we are feeding about, well, during the winter we were feeding about 24 bales of hay every 3 days. Going through some hay pretty darn quickly. It's on up. Yep. Now his gauge is moving. Let's go ahead and take this over to the BGA. See where we stand over there. And when we left, I think it had 27,000 liters of product in the digester, chewed on. So it should have chewed through enough that we can feed it these 4 bales. Seems to go through about 7,000 liters of product every. I don't know if it's every 24 hours or every 12 hours. I have to say, a couple days here, and recently I have just left it alone for a full 24-hour cycle. Just been feeding it in the morning and letting it go in the evening, and then the next morning letting it go. So I'm seeing the. Don't want to get that too high. You have it too top heavy. Skate. Right. We're at 20,845. Drop the. Now at 28,000. Going through about 7,000 liters per every 12 hours. So about 8 bales of hay every 12 hours to keep our BGA fed at the current moment. And we are over 800 kilowatts per hour. That has been a goal of mine, kind of, for a while now, to get that production back up there. 30%, 247,000 liters of digestate. We do have enough digestate if we were to put another layer of that on maybe our grass fields after we get some, after we're able to, with respect to the frozen ground, to fertilize all of these again. And well, we need to fertilize all of our fields again, especially this one, before next time we harvest. So something else is I did add the soil compaction mod into this game save. So this summer we are going to, or this year we're going to be playing with that a little bit and seeing how that affects gameplay, if at all. So until next time, guys. Happy farming.